Hello and welcome back to this new video in the Learning to Program with Go series. In this video, we're going to be covering loops. And unlike Go's predecessors like Java and C, the language uses only one keyword to represent its looping structures, which is the for keyword. There are no while, there's no do while in the language, but you can create that structure or simulate it with Go's for loops without those keywords. The first loop that we can demonstrate in Go is just a classic traditional for loop that we have in other languages. To actually set up a problem here, we're going to be looping through an array. So here I have an integer array. So var a is equal to some sort of integer array that has the numbers 1, 2, and 3 in it. And if we want to loop through this, we can go ahead and have the for keyword, then create some sort of variable that will track throughout this. So we'll start at 0 for the 0th index in the array, separate it with a semicolon with the condition. So then we'll say while I is less than the length of a. And lastly, we can decide how we want to increment this variable. So it's just going to be I plus equal to 1. And then we open up the braces, and therefore we can go ahead and iterate through this loop. Now to prove that this goes through each element in the array, we'll just do a format.print line or printf and print out %v on a new line. And what's going to go in that %v is just a sub I. All right, let's go ahead and save and run this. And we'll see that we got 1, 2, 3 printed out. So how this goes, just call back to arrays, is that arrays start at index 0 and that we go to size -1 of the array when we're trying to find all the elements. So this is saying while I is less than the length of a, so the length of a here is 3. So we'll go through 0, then 1, then 2. And then once this condition is evaluated again, 3 will be not less than 3 anymore. And so then we exit out of the loop and we continue on with the program. But one thing to note with these for loops is that we don't need parentheses like our other languages such as Java. And then also we don't use the var keyword before this right here. We just can simply do the variable name and then initialize it to whatever we want. Now let's model what a while loop could look like here in Go. Let's say we will iterate until we hit the number 3 in this array, meaning that we're not going to print out 3, but we'll try to print out 1 and 2 using a while loop. So we can go ahead and say while, let's actually go ahead and start this off here. So we'll put I, so I is equal to 0. And so we can remove this part of the for loop, and we'll also say while a sub I is less than 3. Then we can also remove this part, and there we go. This kind of looks like a while loop where we just have, usually the keyword, some sort of condition, and then the body of the loop. And so how we'll run this is, so while a sub I is less than 3, we will just go ahead and print that out to the screen. So %v, do another new line, and we'll do a sub I. So let's go ahead, save and run this. And you'll actually see the error that I made here is I accidentally made an infinite loop. One is just continuously running and going, and I can't stop the program. And if actually you want to stop, or the program will not exit itself, and so I have to manually intervene and do a control C here to clear it. And so what happened here is just a classic programmer error where you forget to update the loop condition. And so right here I have a sub I is less than 3, but I never update I is always just sitting at this index right here. And so after we're done printing it out, we can go ahead and do an I++ to go ahead and update that counter. And so let's go ahead and save this and rerun this again. And you'll see that 1 and 2 get printed to the screen, because then once we get a sub 2, it lands on this 3, and therefore 3 is not less than 3, and we exit the loop. Next, let's demonstrate the for each loop in Go. Now, for each loop in Go is sort of similar to what we have over in Java, but except we get an index and a value returned to us at each iteration. So again, we just use the for keyword. And since we are getting returned an index and a value, let's go ahead and name it. So we'll say index value. Then we have to assign it to the range keyword, and the range keyword also needs something to iterate over. So a, which is our array, and that's all we have to do. So now we can create a print statement here that says index is equal to %v and value is equal to %v, and then print them out, index value. So let's save that. So there is no variable incrementing that you have to remember. It'll just go ahead and give you an index and value at each loop iteration. So now it's saved. Let's run it. And we'll say index 0, value 1, index 1, value 2, index 2, value 3. Now let's say that you don't need the index at all. You don't care to track it. You just want the value printed out to you. Well, all you have to do is just do an underscore and ignore it. And now we don't even need to provide some sort of index. So we can just take this part of the print statement out, and let's run this again, and we get our values printed out to us. And there's your for each loop. Lastly, let's go ahead and cover the break and continue keywords. And let's start with break. Break means to break out of the loop early. So while I have this for value and range right up here, let's say that we don't want the loop to continue if we find a value that is equal to 2. So we'll say if value equals 2, we will break. Otherwise, we're going to print out the value. So let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. We get value is equal to 1, then we hit this 2, and it says, okay, I have some if statement that says I need to break here, so it exits early out of the loop, in which there's no other lines of code to execute here. Our program exits early. Now, the inverse of break, or kind of its counterpart, is the continue statement. Continue allows us to stay within the loop, but just skip this iteration. So if I replace this with continue, what will happen is that we will hit the 1 and we'll print it out. Then value will suddenly be 2. This statement runs and it'll hit continue, which will then go ahead and skip this line, and we'll just jump right back up to the top of the for loop. See that we have a 3, and 3 will get printed out. So let's go ahead, run this, and that's exactly what happened. 1 got printed out and then 3, but 2 got skipped with the continue statement. And that's it for the video. Go made looping structures very easy to understand. If you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for future videos, and I'll see you in the next one.